What's up, everybody listening on their radios? This is Sports, Politics, and More, live from New York City. I am your host, Andrew Pollack, joined as always by the wonderful Frank Todaro. Frank, good evening, sir.
Bring down President Trump once and for all.
Back to the show.
Hello, Mark.
Oh, my God. Oh, breaking news. ABC News'
no.
Brian Ross is reporting Michael Flynn promised full cooperation to the Mueller team and is prepared to testify that as a candidate, Donald Trump directed him to make contact with the Russians.
Yay, the nightmare is finally over. We got him.
Yes, Andrew. How are you?
Well, Joy Behar is a lunatic, and she's probably drinking a lot of red wine right now, like most liberals do.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your December 6th, 2017 episode of Spam. Yeah, and that was probably one of the funniest.
Matt Lauer can suck it.
There we go. That's how we open the show this week.
Yes, that's one of the that might be the cherry on the top for the fake news of 2017.
Well, we actually have real news right now.
Oh yeah, we'll get to it.
Yes! Be prepared to refresh the Drudge Report tomorrow. As tomorrow, Senator Al Franken will actually Senate.
Andy,
Yeah, Frank?
all right, calm down with the sounds because it kills your signal.
Oh, okay.
Again, okay. This week again. Let's try to get through one show without technical difficulties. All right.
But did you hear me say the announcement?
Yes. Al Franken. We'll get to him. We got a lot of fun news this week. We'll get to your 2-minute warning at 8:13. At 8:15, we'll go over some serious details into the Mueller probe.
Oh, no. Please tell me we're not talking about
Russian hospital.
Yes. We're talking about Mueller as it keeps the more they dig, the more crap they get on their face. And then of course at 8:30 we'll have our weekly news. That Joy Behar clip from the View Friday. That's what it's all about, and that's what one of the main things about our show is to keep exposing fake news and lies and misconceptions. We're not Trump's lawyer, but we are, as you know. We might be funny on this show. We try to be funny, but we do always try to bring the audience the truth.
Yes, no question. And all I gotta say to Brian Ross is that he better be collecting his thought pattern when it came to last Friday reporting the breaking news and then making Joy Behar giddy about it on television last week.
I don't know if you know. If you saw, I made a episode of my show. Brian Ross, he's the one who officially broke the news on ABC, and they went to breaking news, and then they handed that card to Joy Behar. And the whole thing is they announced that what ABC announced and what Brian Ross announced was that they announced that the then candidate Donald Trump instructed Michael Flynn to talk to Russia which
was not true.
Instead of the president-elect Donald Trump. See, that's a difference. That's a big, serious difference. But even so, that ain't the worst thing in the world. It might. The only law that might break is the Logan Act. The Logan Act is a non-elected president trying to influence or direct foreign policy. But listen, that is a huge statement. Brian Ross, the ABC suspends Brian Ross. Now listen, I said it in my video. Do you think Brian Ross actually broke that? You don't think he was reading from a teleprompter?
Of course, he was reading from a
Right.
teleprompter.
I think, and if you, I know our audience doesn't watch the view, and neither do I. But if you watch the clip of the producer or whoever the hell that was handing Joy Behar the card of the breaking news and ABC, you see, I think ABC, just like Joy Behar, was so happy and so giddy and so foolish in their excitement because they are one of the networks that are anti-Trump. They didn't even read it. They didn't even know what the difference between the then candidate and the president-elect. They don't even know the difference. First of all, and again, I got to clear this up. Flynn, all he did the other day was plead guilty to the FBI. That's all they did. They charged it. That's all this Flynn thing resulted in. He just pled guilty to lying to the FBI. All right. At 8:15, like I said, we'll touch more on that. But it's the right now. I just want to concentrate on the ABC fake news. So I think my theory is, Andrew and the audience, I think that ABC, in their haste to announce this because they are so anti-Trump, they didn't even realize what they were saying. So they made poor Brian Ross take the hit. And why did they even do that? Because when ABC announced broke this news at Friday morning at 11, it caused the stock market to tumble. It spiraled downwards 351 points. So that caused a big effect on market. And a lot of people. What? Andrew, you again, we got to. What did I say? We can't go through one show without technical difficulties. It's not me, it's you.
It's my Wi-Fi booster. I think it's acting up again.
Listen, Andrew, we got to go. We got to take care of this before it's too late. Okay. Anyway,
that's why I'm going to get faster internet next week.
I don't care. Don't announce it. Do it. You're interrupting the show. So, as I was saying, there was a lot of backlash against ABC when they reported this false news. When everybody finally made sense of it, and even Trump, he did praise ABC for firing Brian Ross, but he also tweeted out that the people who lost money in the stock market due to this report should get together and sue ABC, and that might not be a bad idea. Listen, ever since I can remember, major news networks we're held accountable. Okay. They should be held accountable.
Oh, yes, I agree. They reported fake news.
Yeah. Let me tell you, there's the three branches of government, and we now have given, in the 20th century, the news, the media, they're called the unofficial fourth estate of the government. They're supposed to...
Oh, by the way, speaking of the fourth estate, you know who's really annoying from the fourth estate?
Who's this?
Cecilia Vega. You know what she's always shouting from ABC? Mr. President! Mr. President!
Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah. They put all these really non-professional news people on the air. It's not only ABC; it's everybody. Listen, when I was young, and I don't want to sound like an old fart. When I was young, the news was pretty serious. Even though I looking back on it, I could start in like late. Got to get more sensationalized with scandals. I remember it was in 86, 87 when the Iran-Contra hearings with Oliver North. It started going towards that path, and too many Barbara Walters specials and 2020 specials. The news, I guess, if you go back to the 50s and 60s, that was serious reporting news. I mean, I'm not saying it was real, but that was serious reporting news. If there was breaking news, that meant that was the official story, at least. But oh my God, this is it. Listen. Again, somebody I just saw on Twitter, they can't understand why all these people and all these networks keep putting their chips on the Clintons, on Hillary. She's gone. She's done. They're toast.
Listen, I think the media just has a fascination. It's documented since the man took office, and it just comes to show that they want another liberal communist as president. Plain simple.
No, maybe not that, but it's now. I think they dug their grave so deep now that they can't get out of it. See, they first they doubled and tripled down on Hillary, and then after the election, they put their family's fortune onto Trump and Russia, which
they were probably all having mental breakdowns.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, they still can't come to grips with this. I don't know why. Listen, Trump is doing okay as president. Okay, well, listen, we'll talk more about him. All right, Andrew, it's time to further continue to distract the plebeians.
Yes, we have to distract the plebeians this time.
Without bread and circuses, and it's time to distract the your NFL picks from last week, when you actually had one college pick. You started last week at 22 and 22 overall for this year. So here's the rundown. You picked your college game that you replaced with the NFL game. Auburn minus 2.5. Auburn took a beating at the hands of Georgia, so that's a loss.
Georgia's defense actually showed up.
Yes. Okay. And then next you had the Ravens minus 3 over the Lions. Baltimore maims Detroit 44-20. That's a win.
But Stafford was injured. Remember that.
Okay. What did I tell you about betting? It doesn't. There's no excuses, no rhyme or reasons. The final, the final scores are cats. There's no excuses. Then you had the Falcons minus 3 over the Vikings. Atlanta didn't show up. They lost 14-9 at Minnesota.
Oh man, so bad.
You better fix your signal before I hang up on you. Then you had New Orleans minus 4 against Carolina. New Orleans tops the Panthers 31-21. That's a win. Then in your last pick, which I think you said was your lock of the week, you had the Eagles minus 5.5 over Seattle. Seattle shocks the Eagles 24-10. That's a loss. So you went 2-3. That brings your overall record to 24-25. And now it's a 2-minute warning with your top 5 picks.
Well, quickly, if my internet signal did cut off, poor Julio Jones last week. And this is where I'm going to get into the 2-minute drill.
Okay, go ahead. Give us your 5 picks.
All right, everybody. It is week 14 of the NFL season with just 3 weeks left to go. Serious playoff implications are on the line.
Thank God.
First up, so that way we're not complaining. The news week after
you're cutting out. Andy, you're cutting out one more time. I'm going to hang up on you.
After the New Orleans Saints destroyed the Carolina Panthers last week, this week they have a short week playing the Atlanta Falcons. Julio Jones better wake up this week, but I think New Orleans will kick a game-winning field goal and beat the Atlanta Falcons at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now, on to a matchup that was supposed to be boring, but somehow has gotten interesting. You have the 500 Kansas City Chiefs at 6-6 taking on the Oakland Raiders at Arrowhead Stadium. Oh boy, those Kansas City Chiefs. 5-0. They've lost 4 straight. I think the losing streak will continue. I think Oakland will get the win. Plus 3 points. This game should be a pick-em. I don't know why it's not. Carolina Panthers. I said the Minnesota Vikings will be taking on the Carolina Panthers. I think Casey Keenum's momentum will help the Minnesota Vikings get their 11th win and hopefully lock up the first seed in the NFC. I hate the Eagles. So I'm going to give them minus 2.5. Now, the LA Rams. The LA Rams. Where do we even begin with them? I'm not even going to go into that subject, but I will say this. They're at home this week. They're playing the Eagles. The Eagles are still on a West Coast swing. I think it's another West Coast loss for the Eagles. Somehow, some way, maybe the second seed for the NFC is open. That's to be determined if New Orleans and Los Angeles battle it out. So I'm going to give the Los Angeles Rams minus 2 to beat the Eagles in Los Angeles week. And the Sunday night game. I know I said this was going to be the loss for the Baltimore Ravens 4-1 journey. I'm going to do something risky, and Frank says I should always take a gamble. I'm going to give the Baltimore Ravens plus 6 points against the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field because I think the Ravens are going to look for revenge after Pittsburgh beat them in Baltimore the last game.
Well, if you give Baltimore 6 points, they don't have to win the game. They could just lose by less than 6 points and you'll win.
Really?
Yeah, come on. You've been doing this all year and you still don't know that?
I didn't know that.
Andrew, what does plus 6 mean?
What does plus 6 mean? Oh, you mean they can lose?
Andrew, what did I tell you? You're giving the Ravens plus 6 on their final score. So if Pittsburgh 15 to 12, it's really 15-18. Oh my God! And your signal's cutting out. All right, let's move on. He's been doing it all year. See, and he has a 500 record. So what does that tell you about gambling? All right, Andrew, let's move on to the FBI and the crooked FBI. As now, as I said, more and more as they dig, the Mueller probe digs itself into a grave. Reports have come out now about the crooked FBI special agent who was involved in the Clinton email investigation and who actually opened up the Trump Russia investigation. He got fired because apparently somebody dug up some anti-Trump text. His name is Peter Strokes, Strzok. So he did. I'll play it. This is a very good report, so we'll comment on it.
This FBI.
This is Andrew. Do you know who Trey Gowdy is?
Yes, I know who he is.
He's congressman from South Carolina, and just this year he became the chairman of the House Oversight Committee. And here he is on the news.
Was kicked off the Mueller investigation. How serious do you think this is, knowing what you know about it now?
I think from a perception standpoint, it's incredibly serious. He was one of the agents of Secretary Clinton's investigation. He was on Mueller's special counsel. He is anti-Trump, perhaps pro-Clinton texts. People have the right to assume the people that are investigating them are objective and have not already made up their minds. That's why we need to see the text and we need to interview this special agent. But the Bureau's had a really bad last 18 months.
Yeah, and remember, earlier this week when Trump talked about the FBI being in tatters and crooked, the dirty cop, America's biggest dirty cop, James Comey, said, "Oh no, the FBI is honest. The FBI is legitimate." Yeah, okay. But here we have a congressman who is the chairman of the House Oversight Committee saying the same thing.
Frankly,
there was a 5 p.m. deadline by Chairman Nunes for the DOJ and FBI to produce all subpoenaed documents about the Fusion GPS dossier that came and went. It was not filled. There was
not CNN.
As talked about. So, do you think the chairman is going to be proceeding with a contempt of Congress?
I think what we want are the documents and not the drama. When you go to a floor fight on contempt of Congress, it's inherently political. And what we really want is we have an investigation that we want to conclude quickly. But you're right. The Speaker has weighed in, which is pretty unprecedented. If the Department of Justice or the Bureau has a legitimate reason for withholding that information, and the only legitimate reason I can think of is it's part of an ongoing probe. If that's what it is, they need to make that very clear. Otherwise, they need to produce the information. And if they don't, I don't want to go contempt. I want the information. I don't want the drama of a floor fight. But if we have a floor fight, it'll be because the department picked one, not us.
Well, we know there's an Office of Inspector General investigation into this, right?
Yeah, Michael Horowitz is the Inspector General. I talked to him over the weekend. He is exactly what we want to think the FBI is. He's a referee. He's a straight shooter. I've known him for 4 years. I think he's the one who uncovered these texts, and I actually have full confidence that he's going to get to the bottom of it.
If Stroke changed the language for the Director Comey from grossly negligent to extreme That's alone grounds to reopen that case.
Well, I don't think they need any grounds to reopen it. I mean, the FBI head was picked by Trump. The DOJ head was picked by Trump. Rod Rosenstein was picked by Trump. So all of the old actors are gone now. They don't need a reason. There's no statute of limitations. They don't need permission to reopen something. I do find it interesting the FBI changed the words grossly negligent, which is exactly what's in the statute, to extremely.
They're not reopening the email case.
Statute. Another reason we got to get this agent in and then Comey in to understand the decision making back in 2016.
All right, take a listen, Senator Mark Warner and Senator Dianne Feinstein over the weekend.
Oh no, not her.
The president has been obsessed with this investigation, always saying there's nothing there, but each week another shoe drop. Now he fired Flynn because he knew Flynn was lying to Pence. Well, if he knew that then, why didn't he act on it earlier? It raises a whole series of additional questions.
What we're beginning to see is the putting together.
Obstruction of justice. That is the going case up on Capitol Hill being talked about.
Only because the collusion case hasn't been made. I mean, keep in mind, so two of these folks that you just showed, they were talking about collusion this time 6 months ago, but there's no evidence of that, so now they pivoted to...
We've been talking about this for the past year!
What about the legal argument? Alan Dershowitz says you can't make it against the president. Other people say they point to Nixon and Clinton and the political case that's made in impeachment. Where are you on the obstruction of justice?
I would say two things. I think the chief executive can obstruct justice. I would disagree with Professor Dershowitz. I just think it's really, really power, and you are the chief executive and can direct what is and is not investigated. Also, Brett, keep in mind, this is the same president who said he liked Bill and Hillary Clinton and didn't want to see anything bad happen to them. Is that obstruction of justice? Well, are the Democrats complaining that he weighed in and tried to influence a decision with respect to them? I wish he'd stay off Twitter. I really do. I wish he'd quit commenting on ongoing probes. But the obstruction of justice, remember, that started being
Trump.
We had these memos that he said he made. I've read the memos. I've read every one of Comey's memos. They would be defense exhibit A in an obstruction of justice case, not prosecution exhibit, defense exhibit A. If Comey felt obstructed, he did a masterful job of keeping it out of any of his memos.
Last thing, how does the FBI go from assessing that Flynn made a mistake to deliberately lying to the FBI?
One of two things. Either they were wrong when they thought that he just simply made a mistake. Keep in mind, he knows whether or not he was lying, and it may be that they thought he wasn't, but he raised his hand and said, yes, I was. Or it may have been they said, look, we're going to not investigate this other stuff, but we need you to make a 1001 plea, and you need to plead to making a false statement. I can tell you, Brett, when all you got is a false statement to a federal law enforcement officer, you ain't got much. That's usually the very bottom of the barrel of what you make people plead to. It's no prison time associated, and you have made that witness, frankly, incredible in front of a jury because they've already admitted to lying. So it's either he knew he was lying and the Bureau didn't, or they have worked something out in lieu of other charges.
All right. So, Andrew, did you hear that?
I've listened to the entire man.
All right, Andrew, fix your thing. All right, so listen, if you
Jay
heard
Gowdy is smart. I will say that.
I know he's smart and he is true blue. I've followed that man for the last 2 years. The guy is true blue. He's always on Congress. He's always he calls it as it is, and he's a really nice guy. Listen, so you heard that. Mueller, if he did, he pleaded guilty to lying, which is that's all. He pleaded guilty. That's it. He's gone. There's nothing more to do with him. Whatever they charged him with, he took a plea bargain to lying. So that's it. He's finished. And you heard what he said. All the fake news and the fake liberals and the Democrats who think that this guy Mueller is going to testify against Trump. You heard what he said. He pleaded guilty if he does decide to testify. So he's got nothing there. And that this guy just basically broke down the whole investigation.
Well, all I'm going to say is this. Stop talking about it in 2018. That's all I'm asking.
I know. Listen, I cut it off early, but he says the Democrats would like it to last until the next election. It's not. It's going to. Yeah. Because that they want that's all they have. That's all they have on Trump, and nothing. This whole thing. You heard about that agent who got fired, whatever. He changed the wording for Hillary. Listen, him and Comey covered up for Hillary. If you Google this, if you Google Trey Gowdy, Comey, you'll see it last year, the testimony. They asked him. He asks Comey, did she lie? So that's what Trump said. Flynn lies to the FBI and his life gets ruined, and Hillary lied multiple times about multiple felonies and nothing happened to her.
Well, Hillary should be in jail.
Yeah, why can't how come they don't say, oh, maybe Flynn was careless when he talked about the FBI, or maybe he was careless about talking to the Russians, which is, again, it's not a crime. I don't know why they keep saying it's a crime. It was his job. I don't know what he did, why he lied. Trump fired him for lying to Pence. I don't know.
Well, Hillary Clinton could also be in a mental asylum with the straitjacket on.
Yeah. I still don't know why Flynn kept lying about why he lied to the vice president, why he lied to the FBI. I think maybe this guy got scared. I don't know. Why did he get scared? He was in it's just political theater, and it's just political theater. It's all bullshit, in my opinion.
Well, it is bullshit.
It is.
And then the Democrats just want to keep pushing the same thing. Trump, Russia, possible collusion. It's what they do in Glee Club.
And meanwhile, yeah, because they just they know Trump is very popular, and he is. And there's more news about that. Last Friday night, Saturday morning, the Senate passed the tax cut bill, and of course, they all went, the liberals and Democrats all went crazy. Because they know that it's going to only boost the economy. And Monday, the stock market soared in lieu of this tax cuts, and the economy is only going to get stronger. And this is so far, if Trump could hang his hat on something, Andrew, it's the economy. The economy, since after the election, has been moving, or at least has been on the upswing.
Well, our economy's been doing great this year. Even the housing market. I've talked about it before. Housing's had a great year.
Yeah, I read an article the other day that said for the first time in over a decade that the economy has actually reached its output. It's matched its output, its maximum output. So that's in other words, that means the engine is running. The American engine is running. The engine of the economy.
All I'm going to say is that if you're an accountant, you're going to have a wonderful year next year.
Yeah, listen, and this is only year one, Andrew. Once the tax cuts go into effect, every month, every year, the economy gets stronger and stronger. I'd say by the next election, 2020, people are really going to be seeing the difference in their income and the dollar. The dollar is going to get stronger. That means you're going to be able to buy more with $20 than you did a few years ago. Anyway, all right, Andrew, let's start with the news. Are you ready to read the news?
Pretty much.
Okay, so go ahead. Let's start reading the news.
And Frank, if my signal cuts off, you can hang up.
Okay?
I
don't want your signal to cut off.
Well, I'm hoping it doesn't because it's been acting up all show.
Okay. Well, what's the matter? Is there an Islander game on tonight?
No. I think my dad's ruining the signal again. He always does that. He said when we get the faster speed, it shouldn't be a problem next week.
I don't want to hear it. My stomach hurts. Just go ahead. Continue with the news. Let's go.
Well, I've had problems too. All right. So the lead story today was that President Trump officially declared Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
All right.
And
I guess I'm going to have to read the news.
Yes, you read the news then.
All right, goodbye.
Bye-bye.